Sorry I'm not home right now. I'm in a film called Spiderhead. Leave a message and I'll call you back. These drugs mess with my emotions, so leave a message and I'll call you back. Spiderhead is a Netflix original from director Joseph Kosinski, who did Top Gun Maverick, which was one of my favorite films of the year. And a little bit of a spoiler, Spiderhead is not going to be on that list. Not anywhere near that list. Holy goddamn shit, where to start with this? Well, first, it's from the two writers who did Zombieland, Deadpool 1 and 2, Six Underground, and Life. Life was one of the worst sci-fi horror movies in modern history. One of the absolute most putrid, abysmal amalgamations of stupid characters, stupid plot twists with a thin, threadbare plot that was absolutely goddamn maddening because everybody made such terrible decisions in life. Why was life made? They should have been slapped across the goddamn face. Everybody from the cast and crew should have been blacklisted from Hollywood. I kid, of course, because actually there was a lot of talent in that movie. Oh, God, when I saw that, I was a little bit worried, but maybe it would have some of the creative humor from Zombieland, and maybe it would be good. Spiderhead was not. It was not at all. This was one of the worst films of the year. This was one of the laziest films of the year. With a plot that could have worked, but my fucking goodness, every goddamn plot twist, every, little plot device was so obvious. It was so clear where this was going, and everybody that was talented in this movie was reduced to being a one-note ridiculous character. So anyway, it's based on a short story by George Sanders, not to be confused with Colonel Sanders, because I don't think Colonel Sanders was named George. Maybe he was. I don't know. I don't care. I don't even know what I'm on about anymore. Chris Hemsworth was in this as a doctor that kept using drugs, experimental drugs, on convicts to reduce their sentences. Various things that would mess with people's emotions. Or so we think. Miles Teller is in this. He was in Top Gun Maverick, and I really, really hope that people remember him from Top Gun Maverick and not from this, because, my God, this movie deserves to be buried 6 goddamn miles under the earth. Journey Smollett was in this, who is actually pretty good and really deserved better than this. Nathan Jones had a cameo in this. Nathan Jones. The big, bald Australian wrestler, bodybuilder turned wrestler that actually could have been something. He looked great. Unfortunately, that's basically where his talents in the ring ended. He didn't last very long in wrestling. He's done a lot better since being in movies like Troy and doing stunt work and whatever, because he looks impressive. He's nearly 7 feet and like 325 pounds. He's a beast, an absolute beast. Okay, so this movie basically takes place in a compound on a tropical island. It's like a Bond villain cliche, series just wrapped into a goddamn building. It's amazing. It's a goddamn amazing. There's all these convicts, these experimental drugs being used to play with their emotions of love, happiness, possible forgiveness. It's about forgiveness, even if this script is filled with cliches. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of song references, a lot of bullshit in this. Why? Because I'm trying not to lose my mind and want to scream at everybody who greenlit this. And there's some talent in this. I swear, everybody must have been held hostage. Like, they must have held their... Maybe they did like in Con Air, back off where the bunny gets it. But they did it with actual family members, because I don't really understand how anybody could think this finished product is a good idea. You wasted Chris Hemsworth, Miles Teller, everybody in this, even from the lowly characters, even from people that can go on and do bigger and better things. Everybody was a caracature and ridiculous, and I think it was intended to be a comedy, but that only helps if you're actually funny. So anyway, Jeff, Miles Teller's character, is the central focus, and he falls for Lizzie, Journey's character, because he doesn't stop believing in her. And everybody, of course, has a dark, seedy past because they're convicts. And what is this dark, seedy past? Some involves murder. Others involve murder. Most involve murder, actually, in all honesty, now that I think about it. And basically, any attempts at comedy, any attempts at flowery, sciencey talk, any attempts to really make any villains seem like anything other than cartoon caricatures out of a G.I. Joe cartoon without the goofy laser effects, fall on deaf ears. It just falls flat. It falls flatter than flat earthers that have members all around the globe. Think about that sentence, but slowly. So yeah, you have to say acknowledge to get this to get these meds put into you. There are these weird packs on their backs that administer these various drugs, and they go through all these trials. And the more trials they go through, the more their sentence gets reduced. And Chris Hemsworth characters Abernethy, aka Steve. Steve and I have something to say to you. Good old MST3K Night of the Blood Beast. He has a guy named Mark, who is his assistant. And really, it's just about Jeff and Lizzie coming to grips with their past and falling for each other. And we get a few sex trials and a few ridiculous things, and we get sex lies and videotapes. We also get a bunch of songs with She Blinded Me with Science and a whole bunch of other songs. In fact, I think She Blinded Me with Science gets played like 3 times during this. And yeah, this entire movie basically just ends up being infuriating. Infuriating because it never seemed to end, despite the fact it really wasn't all that long. I think it was like an hour and 45 minutes with credits. God damn, this is terrible. And it was a neat little idea. I'm not saying it was the most wholly original thing, but it was obvious where it was going. It's obvious who the villain was. It's obvious what was going to happen, what the plot twists were going to be, and that's really it. So it hasn't... It's on Netflix. If you have a Netflix account, feel free to check it out. But I'm going to get into spoilers because I want to be done with this, because I don't want to remember Spiderhead ever again unless I talk about it on my worst films list, which I might. We'll see. Anyway, that's it. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Okay, so basically, it turns out that Miles Teller's character is in because of account of, of drunken driving and involuntary manslaughter of his best friend and also his girlfriend that he keeps calling. He keeps leaving messages on her phone that somehow is still active. Never quite understood that, but whatever. Probably thinking too deeply into a movie called Spiderhead. Lizzie, it turns out, actually left her baby in a hot car on a July day while she worked at a Walmart. Yeah, that sounds about right for her, how Walmart apparently treats their employees. And also Steve talks about figurehead, just, being a figurehead, but there are people above him that want him to do these trials. Oh, wait, it turns out Steve actually owns the company, and he's completely nuts and off his rocker, and there's this drug called B6. None of these other layers, none of this, none, you sunk my battleship. B6, it was supposed to be called Obidex, for obeying, to make people do whatever he wants them to do. Oh yeah, and one patient dispatches herself because she goes absolutely insane. Heather, she stabs herself because of the mysterious drugs and everything, because she's panicked about stuff. And after everybody confesses all the stuff they do, eventually Jeff and Steve get in a fight, and Jeff takes control of the phone, of the miracle device, and gives Steve all these drugs, because Steve is taking all these drugs as well, because he's hooked on them. He's hooked on phonics, hooked on drugs, hooked on whatever. I don't know why the hell he's doing that. Is what it is. And then everybody basically goes rogue, because Steve gets on there after Jeff and Lizzie try to escape. And they have to battle against the prisoners while Steve escapes with his research, and then has all these emotions flowing through him because his med pack is still going haywire, and he crashes into a mountain while Jeff and Lizzie escape because they love each other, and that's it. That is literally it. That is it for Spiderhead. It's an F. It's a goddamn F. God, screw you, Spiderhead. How dare you? How dare you, people? How dare you make something this bad? Maybe it was intended to be a comedy, but it wasn't funny. It wasn't good as a sci-fi movie. It wasn't good as any kind of horror movie. It wasn't good. It was an amalgamation of a bunch of goddamn genres that people would be able to blend infinitely better. Thank God Joseph Kosinski ended up doing Top Gun Maverick, which will help elevate his stock. Same with Miles Teller. Other people will be able to do things better than Spiderhead. God, I hope. Yeah, and F. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.